This evening, let's explore the hidden secrets of using non-duality to drive healing meditation. This evening we'll explore how to use Dzogchen for healing, or specifically how to use Hatha Yoga or meditation for healing. A week or two ago, an owner of a sick cat reached out to a Reddit group that claims to be focused on Dzogchen. And she was scolded and derided and given a lot, treated very cruelly. In the interim, the poor cat passed on. Sadly, I did not learn of this until after the cat's passing. So the question is there a way to use Hatha Yoga? Is there a way to use the type of mindfulness and meditation that is known by many names, including Zen, Chan, Dhyana, Mahamudra, Mahasandhi, Hatha Yoga, Dzogchen, and Trekcho? Is there a way of using meditation to heal another without shoving us deeper into the tyranny of pushing and pulling? And the answer is yes, there is. So the first step is, now I'm going to assume that you have a good relationship with your kitty cat and your kitty cat likes affection. If your kitty cat is snarling and runs away from you, this will be much more difficult. But so sit comfortably in a meditation posture with your tush resting on a firm circular meditation cushion known as a zafu, and what you can find for a nominal amount on Amazon. And rest your shins on your ankles on a folded yoga blanket, once again, that you can order online. Not from me, though. Allow your cat to rest comfortably in your lap. On your thighs would be great. And upon your cat, just rest your palms. It works best, if you can rest your hands palms up with the back of your hand resting on the Gyatso. And you're doing a good job because kitty cat will start purring. Cats are really energy sensitive, and they typically really dig the energy that humans generate when they meditate. So what I'm going to share now is going to sound remarkably vague, so do allow me to elucidate. As you breathe in, practice radical vulnerability. And so here's the good news. You do not have to force it. For every time that we inhale, we access our sympathetic nervous system, which is not wired for active concentration, which is good, but it is wired for mere perception, especially perception that's practiced vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. Things will come to mind, and you know what? That is exactly what is supposed to happen. As you exhale, you'll effortlessly and automatically access your parasympathetic nervous system, which is already wired for mental release and physical relaxation. So if as your cat lays in your lap, the cat that's ill, thoughts will occur to you automatically, either dreading the cat's further deterioration, dreading the cat's increased pain, dreading the cat's death. Thoughts could also occur to you in the opposite direction, desiring your cat's longevity, desiring your cat's comfort, desiring your kitty cats to have greater health, desiring your kitty cat to have greater happiness. The cool thing is you do not have to force that. We are already wired for empathy. So what I'd like to do is, through the magic of the internet, tap button 7 and share with you an artist's rendering of a cross-section of the human mind. When we experience peril, our electrical activity at the base of our brain increases in the area known as our amygdala, and our fear and crankiness multiply like bunnies in the springtime. But when we access the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems through perception and release in harmony with inhalation and exhalation, the electrical activity below our brain calms down, and the electrical activity in the anterior cingulate gyrus, the seat of empathy, increases effortlessly and automatically. Perhaps that is why the great Dzogchen yogis of Tibet taught that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. So, as we sit there with Kitty Cat in our lap and our hands resting upon Kitty Cat, thoughts dreading the Kitty Cat's pain will occur. And when we notice them, we will notice them as we breathe in, and we will relax as we breathe out. Thoughts desiring Kitty Cat's well-being will occur to us normally. And as we exhale, we will relax and they'll begin to feel non-graspable. And for some strange reason, that seems to help. So we are already wired for duality, but by running duality through the mill of awareness and release, it seems to tame the process and allow us to manifest effortlessly and even beneficially. Before we chant this evening's selection of a Dzogchen, before we chant the opening of our formal meditation practice, I'd like to tend to some housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers like you who help support this channel on Patreon. If you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Yoda on Dagobah under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Now let's turn our attention to our practice text. Oh yes, by the way, good news. If at any point during this live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. And now let's turn our attention to this evening's practice text. I've titled this sadhana, oopsie, oh, coordination, don't fail me now. I've titled this practice text, Secular Mindfulness, Meditation, and Contemplation. Or at least I would have. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. All right, so this is based on an adaptation of arguably the Buddha's meditation manual that is the most concise and the most popular, the Anapanasati Sutta. So let's do a wee bit of chanting. Now, we do not chant for supernatural purposes. We chant to kind of give our central nervous system a heads up. Just as a sprint begins with a starter's pistol and ends with some guy throwing themselves across the finish line, similarly, I found it useful to end a meditation with a brief recitation of the four immeasurables and to begin each meditation with a brief recitation of the following four lines to help us to exercise empathy and enthusiasm. Together. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. We're going to play with 16 exercises. We begin with Kaya Sati's only set of 4 preliminary meditations to center our bodies. We're going to play with a rhetorical question. And like all rhetorical questions, our job is not to answer this question. It's merely to ask the question, silently and mentally in harmony with our inhalation, our exhalation, and our relaxation. By simply asking how long, our specific awareness of our breathing increases, but our general awareness overall is exercised. So let's play with this right now for approximately 32 rounds. We are not practicing active concentration. It's perfectly natural for our mind to wander. Allow it to do so. Sometimes the words how long will be in the foreground. Sometimes they'll just be in the background. That's okay. The next exercise is a very similar variation of the first exercise, and we're merely asking how short. We're not forcing ourselves to breathe shorter. We're just playing with words and awareness. We now increase the size of our sphere of mindfulness from that of our respiratory system. We're going to increase it now to encompass the entirety of our corporeal body. As we do so, we shall do so by playing with the following two words. During the inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the verb feel. And as we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the noun form, which is a monosyllabic synonym of body. We come to the fourth of Centering's 4 physical preliminary practices, where we allow our bodies to tranquilly relax. So as we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the noun form. And as we exhale, we silently and mentally recite the verb calm. This is not an affirmation. We are not saying our body is calm. This is simply a way of directing our intention. You might say, dude, if I knew how to calm my body, I wouldn't be here, and that's understandable. But we're not actually calming the body, we're just giving voice to an intention and letting that be the first in a series of dominoes that will result in a calmer body and then mind. We continue with Vedana Sati's set of 4 jhana meditations centering our feelings. We begin with our first feeling-oriented centering practice, where we savor the first jhana's blissful joy that flows from gently grinning with the corners of our mouth, the apples of our cheeks, and the crow's feet of our eyes towards our bodies of flesh, blood, and bone. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the verb grin, and as we exhale, we silently and mentally recite the noun form. If at any point you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. We come to the second of 4 feeling-oriented centering practices, where we savor the second jhana's peaceful joy that flows from gently grinning, once again, with the corners of her mouth, the apples of her cheeks, and the crow's feet of her eyes, towards thoughts, emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining, and clearly we're using the word thought as an umbrella term for all the different things our mind can do. Once again, as we breathe in, we're going to silently and mentally recite the verb grin. And as we exhale, we're going to silently and mentally recite this mental umbrella term. We come to the third of 4 feeling-oriented centering practices, where we savor the third jhana's contentment by mindfully noticing, investigating, and coalescing our thoughts, emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. As we breathe in, how do we do that? As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the verb feel. And as we exhale, we silently and mentally recite the noun thoughts, which of course functions as an umbrella term. We come to the fourth of 4 feeling-oriented centering practices, where we savor the fourth jhana's neutrality by allowing our thoughts, emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining to tranquilly relax. Remember, we're using the term thoughts as an umbrella term. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the noun thoughts. And as we exhale, we silently and mentally recite the verb calm. So we're not using it as an adjective. We're not lying to ourselves and say, oh, I'm so calm. We're not making an affirmation. We're making a command. We are using the verb calm to guide our intention, because intention guides thoughts. Thoughts guide the mind. and the mind guides the body. So thoughts, calm. We continue with Chitta Sati's second set of 4 jhana meditations centering our mind. We begin with the first of 4 mind-oriented centering practices, where we savor the 5th jhana sphere of infinite spaciousness by mentally noticing, investigating, and coalescing our mind's ability to see, hear, feel, smell, taste, and the like. This time we're using mind as an umbrella term. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the verb feel. And as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the noun mind. We come to the second of 4 mind-oriented centering practices, where we savor the 6th jhana's sphere of infinite awareness, which we generate by allowing our mind to gladden, as towards it we gently smile, from the corners of our mouth, the apples of our cheeks, and the crow's feet of our eyes. We come to the third of 4 mind-oriented centering practices, where we savor the 7th jhana's sphere of non-graspability, as we allow our minds, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, to tranquilly relax in the most sustainable way. Now, one thing that's really, really cool is that every time we exhale, we're already wired to relax. We're already wired to release. So intending or wishing that our minds calm, reciting the word calm, the verb calm, during our exhalation is easy and effective. We come to the fourth of 4 mind-oriented centering practices where we savor the 8th jhana's sphere of acquiescent non-labeling by experiencing the liberating equanimity of our controlling tendencies to shove and reach. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite the noun mind, which again functions as a umbrella term for our tendencies to perceive. To perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. Now, every time during our exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the verb free. It isn't a noun. We're not telling ourselves an affirmation. It's a verb. We're giving our brain an instruction. This isn't very difficult for our brain because thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are already wired to physically relax and mentally release during each exhalation. Welcome to the group meditation. If at any point you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Having completed 12 meditations, we now turn our attention to contemplation. We end now with Dhammasati, also known as Anika Vipassanas, set of 4 impermanence contemplations to help us circumstantially let go. So we are going to play with 4 rhetorical questions. And by definition, we do not strive to answer these questions. We simply recite them silently and mentally in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation, and most importantly, our relaxation. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite what? And as we exhale, we silently and mentally recite change. We come to the second of 4 contemplations where we consider subtle impermanence. Silently and mentally we recite what as we breathe in and fade as we breathe out. Remember, these questions are purely rhetorical. We come to the third of 4 contemplations, where we consider very subtle impermanence, with the rhetorical question, what cease, that we silently and mentally recite in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. This brings us to this evening's final contemplation, where we consider relinquishing, yielding, or surrendering. We do so with the cunning use of a rhetorical question: how yield? We silently and mentally recite it in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. Remember, we are already wired to physically relax with every exhalation. So allow the physical sensation of exhalation's relaxation to act as a carrier wave upon which the verb yield can surf. Let us seal this evening's meditation by chanting the 4 immeasurables. May everyone be free from misery, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, freed. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even help support this channel on Patreon by using your smartphone to capture the QR code on the screen, or by simply clicking the Patreon link in the description area below the video. In approximately 10 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early morning lesson and meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.